Hey, what's up everybody? Today we're doing kind of a special react video to a song. So we are just listening to one song, but I'm going to give you my thoughts on it. And right when I left for Las Vegas for the Twice Encore concert, as well as South Korea, one of the greatest collaborations in my personal opinion came out, and it's STAYC covering Fancy by Twice. Now this was, I think, performed in one of their European concerts, but I never actually listened to it because I wanted to record my initial thoughts on it. So I've been recommended this video, I've been sent it by friends, and I've never actually gotten around to listening to it. So for those who don't know sort of my K-pop journey, so Twice is the alt group for sure, but unfortunately, once Gen 3 comes to an end, I gotta figure a different K-pop group or different K-pop groups that I want to listen to. So the fourth gen group that's gonna get most of my attention is gonna be STAYC. And if you've been following my Superstar videos, you know that I play both Superstar JYP as well as Superstar STAYC. So I wasn't really sure what lightstick to bring out for this occasion, so we brought both of them, and I'm actually just really excited for this collab because I love STAYC's music, I love Twice's music. STAYC covering Fancy by Twice is probably gonna blow my mind. So I'm actually really excited to hear this for the first time. I've heard like the tiniest clips, like, you know, when you hit a reel and then it starts playing a song and you gotta skip it so that you don't see any spoilers or anything like that. That's basically the life I've had to live for the past 3 weeks. But today we break that streak and finally listen to this song. So we are gonna break it down and kind of talk about our thoughts on it. And with that being said, let's listen to STAYC's cover of Fancy by Twice for the first time.
The number you have dialed is not available at present. Please leave your message after the beep.
지금 하늘 구름색은 트로피카야 저 태양 빨간 빛이 두 볼 같아. Tell me I'm the only one, babe. I fancy you, I fancy you, fancy you. It's dangerous 느낌에 넌 장미 같아. 괜찮아 정도나 겁나지 않아. 더 세게 꼭 잡아. Take my hand. 좀 위험할 거야. 더 위험할 거야. Baby. 달콤한 초콜릿 아이스크림처럼 녹아버리는 지금 내게만 so lovely. 깜깜한 우주 속 가장 반짝이는 저별 그 여운의 풍미가 거기 너 fancy you 아무나 원하지 않아. Hey I love you. 그래 너 fancy you 꿈처럼 행복해도 돼. Cause I need you. Fancy you. 누가 먼저 좋아하면 어때? Fancy you. 지금 너에게로 갈래. Fancy you. 매일매일 난 정말 아무것도 못하네. On my main day 이러다 큰일 날 것 같은데. Bang bang 머리가 홀린 듯 reset 시대. 어쩌면 좋아 이게 맞는 건지 몰라. SOS Swim 다른 바다에 잠수함이 돼. 매일이 birthday 달콤해 너와 나의 fantasy. Dream dream 마치 꿈 같아볼 곳이 봐봐. 요즘 나의 손끝 메시지 랄랄라. Baby 달콤한 초콜릿 아이스크림처럼 녹아버리는 지금 내게만 so lovely. 깜깜한 우주 속 가장 반짝이는 저별 그 여운의 풍미가 거기 너 fancy you 아무나
Okay. All right. So, what are our initial thoughts on that? First of all, super chill. It's like a completely different variation of the song Fancy as we know it, which is like super high energy, has really low lows and really high highs, and like transitions between like the verses being mellow to the chorus being like literally like a build-up that leads to the chorus itself. But this song was a little different because it kind of kept its consistency throughout the entire thing. So it gave kind of like a chill, islandy kind of vibe, very mellow, very like not explosive, as opposed to the Fancy that we know by Twice, where again there's like very like mellow verses and stuff, and then very explosive choruses, very standard to like the pop genre. Whereas this, again, is just throughout the whole thing gives a very consistent mood. And what that says already is that this song's a good song to listen to on repeat. Because by keeping the same thing throughout, it kind of makes it easier to listen to consistently. Now, one thing I should have done at the very beginning was turn off subtitles, because like when I watch TV and stuff, I've got to read the subtitles. Like, I just need them to not be there. So, a few things we noticed on the way here. First of all, of course, we had to bring out the dual lightsticks. Like I said at the beginning, I'm saying it now, like, this was such a vibe. Like, it's so chill, and it's so cool knowing that STAYC covered Fancy by Twice. Like, I'm melting right now, y'all. I'm melting. All right, so what did we notice about this song? First things first, this song was like designed for like Jay's vocal range, because the way that they made this cover is again by keeping it mellow, and Jay's voice is very, very mellow, as opposed to someone like Yoon, who normally has very loud explosive notes, like really carries the chorus, and then like Seun, who does a lot of the ad-libbing. None of that was present in this particular cover, which is very interesting because it does go to show like the vocal talent of some of the lead singers and how they can also play like a mellow role in the song, which is very cool. It's very outside of what we see them doing normally. So let's watch this again without subtitles, because the subtitles were distracting me a lot, but I didn't want to bring attention to it as we were going along. Okay.
The number you have dialed is not available at present. Please leave your message after the beep.
See, like, you can hear that Jay's kind of dominating here. Okay, wait, another thing I gotta bring attention to is they made a whole separate choreography for this. They didn't do any of the original choreography, or at the very least, I only know the choreography for the chorus, I'm gonna be honest. But none of the choreography transitioned to here. So they made a completely different, like, song arrangement and a completely different choreography. So kudos to STAYC for like taking that extra mile to make this not just a cover, but like an interpretation. All right, let's keep going. Okay, so we got to take a quick break there just to appreciate that while they didn't copy the choreography, there's a lot of shout outs to it. All right, so let's listen to that chorus again. So right there, wait, this part right here. If I could freeze it at the right spot, right? This is the fancy sign, right? This is the whole like fancy, like that part, right? So they kept the sign in there, like the Twice sign, so that's still really cool. So this part right here, it's not like exactly like fancy, but this whole like waist rotation thing is present towards like the middle of the fancy choreography for the chorus. Like this part, it kind of resembles that a little bit. That might be reaching, but it definitely has that kind of vibe. They kept that. That was actually, I think that was actually kept verbatim. The whole like flick and then like hair flip thing that Isa does there is, I think that's right from the fancy choreo actually. So I gotta give that one. And then this part right here. Right, because that part in the original choreography is like, okay, oh gosh, it's like the knee tapping this fancy, right? So that part actually kind of stayed similar, except it's a little bit more dramatic in the STAYC choreo. Because it's like knee tap, that, give, and flick, right? And then we see that right here. See, it's very like similar. So even though it's not the choreography like verbatim, it does have a lot of like call outs to it, which is very cool for an interpretation. I love the formations that they do. It plays very well to the fact that they're a 6-member group. So cool. That right there, oh my gosh, wonderful. Okay, so another thing, like, so I guess we inadvertently started making this talking about the actual, like, choreography and the dancing. So 6-membered groups are hard to make choreography for. 6-membered, 4-member, like 6 or less, basically, because there's only so many like formations you can do. And you notice it a lot throughout this music video. Like one formation that they touched on a lot is like this pyramid formation, because we saw Sumin in the back a lot being covered by whoever is in the front. So 6-member groups are really hard to make choreography for, because it's hard to make big movements with only 6 people that cover like a wide range, right? Like the benefits of having like 9-membered group, 13-member groups is that formations, you can get very creative with them. You can get creative with like levels, spacing, different shapes, different things you can do, lines. But with 6-membered groups, like there's only so many formations that you can do without it looking sloppy, right? Like you can't do a lot of formations where there's like 1 member here and 5 members here unless this member is doing a solo, right? Like you can only do like pyramids, lines, levels that involve 3 and 3. So it's hard to do like 6-membered formations sometimes. So you have to get really creative. And we see that really well actually in this video. So let's look at some of the formations that they explored. See, okay, so this is what I mean. Like, we're looking at kind of like this pyramid-esque formation where there is kind of like a 5 and a 1, but the 1 is like the person singing, and then someone in the back is getting covered, which you try to avoid a lot by doing like windows, but in this case, it's inevitable because there's only 6 members, right? Because the window would look kind of weird if it was like 3, 2, and then the 1 in the middle. So as you can see, they're playing around with the camera angles to not have someone be deliberately blocked. But for this, we had to put it right back in the center for the whole landscaping. And as you can see, Aiza's being covered by Seun here. Alright, so here we go. So a different formation. Now they do 3 and 3, but this is windowed. So again, very little we can do about the formations. And then we go back to this like pyramid thing. Now, I want to call this like the STAYC angle because I gotta double check some of the old choreography. It feels like STAYC always does this angle. Like specifically if this is the back and this is the front, they always do this angle. I gotta double check to see if it ever goes the other way, but it always feels like we do this line formation in STAYC a lot. And we also do a lot of like domino effect moves. In this case, see, this is a really interesting formation, right? Because again, we're looking at 6-membered groups. We're looking at having, like, how do we play with different levels? In this case, we have kind of like a circle with Sumin in the middle, which is very interesting because it's like something I don't see very often, but it accentuates the center while at the same time not hiding someone in the back, which is really cool. And now we're back to the pyramid again. See, we always go back to this pyramid because it's like a very standard formation. There was that domino effect we were talking about earlier. Here's the STAYC angle again. I really hope I haven't ruined the pyramid formation for people. See, okay, wait, this is a good example, actually. So, of, like, why 6 people are hard to, like, figure out choreography to. Alright, this formation is very strange. Because we have 3 people lined up in the middle, 1 and then 2. And that's why the camera does this thing where it's actually the camera lopsides itself. Because the formation looks really strange, right? Like, you can see the right banner, but you can't see the left because the camera intentionally positioned itself so that it's not like, the shape doesn't look strange. It's very subtle, but that's why the camera is angled like the way that it is, kind of like make do with this odd formation. And see, then we go back to this pyramid because Seun was at the front here, but in order to even out this formation, they had to go to the back right. I love that snap. Love that snap. It's just so clean. It's like they play with like the leg angles, like the arm angles. It's a very sharp movement that has to look clean, and STAYC's killing it. This part, this domino. This move's actually a fancy move too. This like sleepy move. One thing I love about this choreography in relationship to the song is that the choreography matches the song, right? Like if we listen to this like interpretation and then put the TWICE choreography over it, it wouldn't make any sense because the TWICE choreography is very loud, right? Like when we think about the choreography for Fancy by TWICE, it's very like lots of movement, lots of big angles, like lots of formation changes. This is more like subtle and the moves are mellow. They're not exactly like punchy, right? Like they're very like smooth and like elegant. So it matches the vibe of the song super well. So we talked a lot about formations. We talked a lot about like how there's call outs to the original TWICE choreography, but I love how, again, the dance itself is an interpretation for the cover. So it goes hand in hand. Really love how they like match the choreography to the mood of the song rather than having matched the choreography to the old song or like vice versa. So really cool that the choreography matches the mellowness of the instrument or the interpretation of the song itself. All right, so we talked about the choreography. We talked about my initial reactions. Again, super hyped. This is one of like my favorite collaborations of all time. It's like literally like, you know, when you take two friend groups and then you put them together and then like somehow, you know, you're worried it's not going to work out, but everything works out. That's what I'm feeling right now, is we're just like, it all just worked out and created something awesome. All right, so now we have to talk about what my favorite part when it comes to some of these videos is. Let's talk about the music. Let's talk about the instrumentals and what we can hear, what we can single out and stuff like that. And let's listen to it again, because why not? It was dope. It was really good.
The number you have dialed is not available at present. Please leave your message after the beep.
Okay, first things first. So I had to cough, so my bad. But love that guitar intro. Let's hear that one more time because it's just so good. It's so smooth.
The number you have dialed is not available at present. Please leave your message after the beep.
We love, I want to say it's kind of hard for me to discern it because it got edited a little bit, I think, but we love a nylon string guitar because it, unlike an acoustic guitar, like a steel string guitar, it's not as like ringy, right? It's more like a reverberation that you hear with nylon string guitars versus like the sharpness of like a steel string guitar. So starting off with just that, we can tell that the song is going to be mellow because nylon string guitars are very like easy listening, right? Like your ears can follow it. It feels like your ears are eating like a wonderful meal. Like it's a nice smooth intro. And so that's a really good start with the nylon string guitar. Oh, hang on. Let's go back there.
지금 하늘 구름색은 tropica야 저 태양 빨간 빛이 두 볼 같아 Tell me I'm the only
Oh, the guitar is carrying. Then we add the bass. All right. So we're building up, but it's mellow. All right, now we're adding some of the synthesizer noise. Okay, so that was something really interesting, was that we saw this progression happen, right? Like it started off with the nylon string guitar, then they added the bass, then they added like more of the electronic noises that led up to the chorus. So we still had like the build up that's very common with like pop music, but it was done very mellowy. Like, it wasn't like really explosive like we see in other pop music. It was very like, let's add the instruments bit by bit and then let's make the chorus big, but not so big that it overpowers like the mood of the song, right? Like, it was still very mellow, very low sounding. And throughout the chorus, you could hear the nylon string guitar still killing it in the background. So now we're up to verse 2. And we're back to the nylon string guitar doing full carry. Alright, we're building up. Right? Because now we got the bass back. We're building up with some of the synthesizer noise. I think they bumped up the bass. Love that part of the choreo. So you can hear it a little, but there's a little ad-libbing. So that was really interesting because there was like ad-libbing in the final chorus, but they didn't make it as pronounced as we would, for example, like Jihyo ad-libbing the end of the Twice song, right? All right, so let's listen to that final chorus one more time. So you can hear it because it sounds like listening to someone talk over the radio, like an old school radio. Like, it's supposed to sound like the staticky, like phone kind of noise. So let's listen to it one more time and tell me if you can hear it or not. So what made that ad-libbing like really interesting for me personally is that when I think about like K-pop and like ad-libbing and what I've heard, it's usually the ad-libbing is very powerful. It's very, very loud. It's supposed to like catch your attention immediately. But in this case, it was really mellow. It was really low. And again, it doesn't disrupt like the feeling of the song, right? Because like, if I had to guess, the feeling of the song is supposed to be like a mellow version of Fancy. Like, it's not supposed to be explosive. It's supposed to be like a nice, easy to listen to, which is really kind of interesting because that's kind of like the STAYC mood, is like taking things and like putting a more like, I don't want to say like modern twist to it, but like giving it kind of like a new image. Because that's kind of like the STAYC vibes I get, is like, what is this new like image that we're going for? I feel like that's just like a reoccurring thing with like STAYC's, like, what is this new image that we're going for, right? Because their literal name is Star to a Young Culture, right? So it's kind of just like Fancy came out several years ago, like maybe not that long ago, but like I want to say like 5-6 years ago is when Fancy came out. So it's interesting how it's like STAYC reinvents a song that didn't even come out that long ago, but put like an entirely new spin to it, like a nice chill vibe, which is what some people like to listen to today, is like a nice chill vibe, something that they can put on their headphones, like study to, something they can drive the car to, like nice, easy listening, which is like something that I feel like is kind of prominent today as having like a nice, easy listen to song that's got like the comfort of like an older song like Fancy. Again, not that old, like 5-6 years ago, but like super chill sound overall. And then like one thing I want to comment on before we sort of close out this video, because we're at like 30 minutes of like interpretation and like thinking and stuff like that, is that the only reason this mellowness works is because of how well STAYC can sing. Now I mentioned this kind of a little bit earlier, but when we think about like Yoon and when we think about Seun, we think about really loud, explosive, punchy vocals, right? Like it stands out. It's like rock music almost, right? Where you can discern the voice from everything else because it's so like in your face. But in this case, they took all of the voices of STAYC and then made them very mellow. And that's like one of Jay's strong suits as like a singer, is like this mellow, deep-ish, not like high range kind of voice that really like hits, right? Like it's more of a mellow sound, and they had everybody be mellow. So like it's also big kudos to STAYC themselves for having like the vocal talent to not go off the rails, right? Because like what makes this all work is that the choreography, the song itself, like the singing itself, all follows the same mood, and having this nice consistency is what makes a good song, right? Because like let's just say we had like Yoon's or Seun's explosive vocals in this song, it wouldn't give the same vibe, right? Like if we had that ad-libbing at the end, right? Let's go back to it real quick. Now imagine if that ad-libbing, I don't know if it was Seun, I'll be honest, I can't like discern the voice that well, but like imagine if that ad-libbing was really loud and really explosive and overtook whoever is singing that actual part, in this case, Sumin. So if that was there, it wouldn't give the same energy as the rest of the song, right? It would follow the standard K-pop progression where it's like the final chorus is really explosive, really loud. But in this case, by mellowing out the ad-libbing, it makes the whole song stay consistent, which is just, again, like it's talent, it's knowing how to change the factors to make the song like feel complete. So overall, like really cool that they kept the whole tone like the same throughout. Like it's just good songwriting, to be honest, to keep the tone the same throughout. Or I guess I wouldn't say good songwriting, but it's like very standard songwriting to keep your like consistency throughout the song. But I just thought it was like, these are all deliberate choices, right? Like, okay, everybody, no like explosive singing today. Like let's all just mellow out. Let's keep the mood very nice and low to the ground. And that was the instructions. That was the assignment. And they understood it super duper well. So we're going to give this one more listen to, and then, because this is already really long, but I really like listening to this. I'm actually like really enjoying this song. I can finally put this on my Spotify playlist and listen to it.
Please leave your message after the beep.
지금 하늘 구름색은 트로피카야 저 태양 빨간 빛이 두 볼 같아 Tell me I'm the only one babe I fancy you I fancy you fancy you It's dangerous 뜨끔해 넌 장미 같아 괜찮아 정도는 겁나지 않아 더 세게 꼭 잡아 Take my hand 좀 위험할 거야 더 위험할 거야 baby 달콤한 초콜릿 아이스크림처럼 녹아버리는 지금 내 기분 so lovely 깜깜한 우주 속 가장 반짝이는 저별 그 여운의 네가 여기 no fancy you 아무나 원하지 않아 Hey I
Can we appreciate that button press that went into the Mario like question block noise? Okay, one other thing that I guess I never noticed this because I never actually like read the lyrics, like what they interpreted to. As odd as it sounds, and maybe this is more of like a hot take, this like choreography and like this melody and everything, in my opinion, probably fits the mood of the lyrics better than the original like sound did. Now, don't get me wrong, both are wonderful. Like, Fancy is like an iconic song, and you play that first note, and it's like the bat signal for onces, right? Like, the minute that you hear that, everybody knows it's like Fancy's playing, right? It's like the bat signal for like onces. A lot of like intros to Twice songs are like the bat signal for onces. But anyways, so like listening or like reading the lyrics as I'm watching the choreography, listening to the sound, like the original by Twice was very just like, again, it was very explosive. It was very like in your face. It was very like high energy. But as I read the lyrics, like I love this interpretation by STAYC because it gives kind of like this mysterious, flirty kind of vibe. Because when you listen to the music, it's like nice, it's mellow, it's kind of just like you're writing a love letter to somebody and you hope that they read it and you hope that they feel the same way. That's kind of like the vibes that like this particular song is giving me. Whereas if I think about these lyrics with like Twice and their choreography, it's very just like, hey, you, like, I like you. Awesome choreography, ad-libbing, bam, formations, like good choreography. But this kind of like, it feels like the interpretation was done based off of, honestly, the lyrics. Like, I could believe that the lyrics inspired the mellowness that STAYC was going for, the people that wrote this song, like the producers and everybody on the team. So, reading the lyrics as I'm watching the video kind of gives me this feeling of just like, hey, like, I like you, I want to write you this letter, I hope you feel the same way, you know, all this stuff. Like, it's very like sweet, right? It's very like sweet and like sort of cute, sort of mysterious. Like, it's like having a crush is what this like vibe gives, as opposed to the Twice one, which is just like, bam, I like you. You know, checkbox yes, checkbox no, right? This feels like a lot more mellow, like sneaking a note, right? So I really like this version of Fancy, not just because it's STAYC, because don't get me wrong, clearly I have a problem. But But aside from the fact that it's done by STAYC, it's like the whole interpretation of like Fancy as a whole was really interesting. It's like a different take on the same song. Like literally it's the same song, like the lyrics are the same, but like they changed up the instrumentals, they changed up the like choreography, they changed the whole vibe of the song. They just basically borrowed the lyrics, and that's just, it's really interesting to see, right? It's like when you watch or when you see those posts that are just like, this is this character drawn by the original artist. Now this is this character if they were drawn by different artists, like it's the same character, but it looks totally different and it gives a completely different energy. And that's kind of what this interpretation does. It gives like a completely different energy from the original, but it's like, it's still an obvious call out to the original while at the same time maintaining its individuality, which is just very, very cool to see from an interpretation, right? Because it wouldn't be as cool if they did an exact one-to-one, right? If it was basically just STAYC singing the lyrics, right? Like when we think about STAYC singing like Microcosmos by BTS, like a very old-ish kind of video, it was basically the same music, right? But it was just their vocals, which added its own level of like individuality like on its own. But this takes the whole thing and changes it. But at the same time is like, it's individual, but it also like has obvious call outs to the original. So I really like this interpretation because like it just flows so well. It's like the whole thing from start to finish, the music, the lyrics, the choreography, and the lyrics stay the same, right? So the fact that they can make the lyrics like blend well with a completely different vibe from the original is just very, very good. It like speaks to the talent of the people that made the choreography and like I was gonna say sheet music, but that's not correct. The notes for the singing, and then like STAYC who brought that together when it came to the singing and the choreography. So really love this interpretation. I think it's so cool. Again, it's one of like my favorite like collabs. Like this is the anime crossover I didn't know I needed, but here we are today, y'all. Like super chill, really dig it. And again, I'm very excited to finally put this on my Spotify playlist after not being able to hear it for 3 weeks. But yeah, that is like my breakdown of Fancy by Twice covered by STAYC. Very cool, very chill, very nice listening to. Loved it, and I hope y'all loved it too. Even actually like looking at this, right? Like it's this Fancy, right? Fancy, boom. Fancy, boom. Like it's that. It's where one's like one way and the other's, that was like really bad, but like one's one way and one's the other way. So love the call out. And again, I hope my interpretation kind of spoke to you a little bit, because it kind of felt like I was rambling a little bit, but like I was trying to make as much sense as I possibly could and like draw attention to like the details that I thought were very important. But yeah, that is all for this like reaction, interpretation, breakdown. Let me know what y'all think below. Let me know actually what you want me to like give an interpretation to, because I'm trying to expand like K-pop for me. So the next 2 things on my list are Killing Voice with Twice, because I haven't listened to that either because it literally came out in the same time frame, and then Idol's second album 2, because I bought it in Korea because that was the lucky draw at Withmu at the time. So that is what's on the horizon for like these react and breakdown videos. So I hope you enjoy these. If you do, let me know in the comments below. If you want me to try and interpret something else, let me know in the comments below what you think, because again, I have a background as like I used to dance, I used to write music, I used to play music. I can still sort of play music, maybe a little bit. But yeah, I have a very extensive artistic background in, I wouldn't say artistic, like I don't have any degrees. I didn't dance on a specific like type of team. I didn't do like tournaments, things like that. But like I have a love for music. I've had a love for music, and I hope my musical interpretation is kind of helping you understand like why this is so amazing and why it's so cool and how to like appreciate it more. But yeah, that is all for now. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, until next time, take it easy.